The outrageous cast of In Living Color. Next on You.
This is Channel 5, your 24-hour news source.
Good evening, I'm Carol Marine.
And I'm Joan Esposito, runs on vacation.
Tonight, controversy swirls around the Milwaukee Police Department over the handling of a call to help one admitted victim in Jeffrey Dahmer's horrifying serial murder case. Police tapes released today reveal what some see as potentially damaging remarks made by responding officers. It's announced an internal police probe will include disciplinary charges, and for the first time, the attorney for the officers in question speaks out in their defense.
First, though, police audio tapes are shedding dramatic new light on how Milwaukee police officers handled their encounter with Jeffrey Dahmer, an Laotian boy who apparently was trying to escape from the accused serial killer. May 27th incident involved 14-year-old Conrad Sinthasomphone. A resident dialed 911 to report a boy was naked and bleeding outside the apartment building where Dahmer lived. That caller, Tina Spivey, asked for police help, but she was transferred to a fire department dispatcher.
This butt-naked young boy or man or whatever, he's butt-naked, he's been beaten up real bad, and he's fell out, and people are trying to help him stand. He can't stand. He's butt-naked, he has no clothes on, he's very hurt.
Is he awake?
Yeah, he ain't awake. They trying to get him to walk, but he can't walk straight, he can't even see straight. And every time he stand up, he just fall out.
25th Street.
Yeah,
All right.
they're one way.
Okay.
Bye.
Next, we hear the recording of the police dispatcher's call to the police officers who responded to the call for help.
Intoxicated Asian naked male was returned to his sober boyfriend, and we're 10-8. She 18 or she 10. In a minute, my partner's going to get deloused at the station.
Then later that evening, Spivey's aunt, Glenda Cleveland, in a follow-up call to police, talks with one of the officers who was at Dahmer's apartment.
I can't do anything about somebody's sexual preferences in life.
Well, no, I'm not saying anything about that, but it appeared to have been a child. This is my concern.
No, he's not.
He's not a child.
No, he's not.
In a horrifying postscript to these tapes, the Milwaukee Journal newspaper, quoting sources close to the investigation, is reporting that Dahmer has now told police he killed the boy as soon as officers left his apartment.
There were more revelations tonight surrounding the Milwaukee Police Department's handling of this case. 3 officers who allowed the Laotian boy to stay with Dahmer reportedly went inside Dahmer's apartment when they answered that call. That call occurred 2 months before the world knew who Jeffrey Dahmer was. The Milwaukee Journal reports that Dahmer said at the time photos of previous victims were strewn on the floor and that there was a body in his bedroom smelling, quote, like hell. But a spokeswoman for the police union who confirmed today that the officers were in fact in the apartment said those officers saw no evidence to suggest that anything was wrong.
They had known, they had suspicion that Dahmer was involved in a past, present, future illegal activity, or that this child, that we know now to be a child, but they thought reasonably back then was an adult, they had any suspicion, they would have moved with all deliberate speed.
The union says the officers tried to interview the boy, who appeared drunk and unable to respond, and that the officers said that Dahmer was calm and showed no signs of hiding anything. But Police Chief Philip Areola, who declined comment on the specifics of the investigation, today announced internal charges are pending against the officers.
Department standard operating procedures relative to personnel investigations will be followed. This procedure provides that individuals so charged have 7 days to respond. Upon receipt of the individual's responses, I, the chief, will render his decision and not before that time.
In the interim, the officers are suspended with pay according to state statute.
What's your reaction to the language and the laughter that you heard on the tapes of the radio broadcast?
The tapes that were released obviously speak for themselves.
How common is that type of language on a police broadcast?
It's not common. It's not tolerated. It's not appropriate.
Chief Areola added that criminal charges are not planned against the officers, but department violations are being pursued. The officers' names have not been released.
Community reaction has been sharp, and tonight citizens gathered for an open meeting at Milwaukee City Hall.
Channel 5's Charlie Wojciechowski was there and joins us now live. Charlie?
Well, right now, Milwaukee is a city being torn apart by two emotions: grief for the victims of Jeffrey Dahmer and outrage over the possibility that police could have done something to prevent these crimes. Simple candles in memory of a young boy whose life met a violent and now some say preventable end. Milwaukee's Laotian community remembered 14-year-old Konarak Sintasampong. Tonight, Father Peter Burns describes the family's reaction to the disturbing tapes released by the police department.
It saddens them, and they really wish the outcome of that early morning would have been a little different, if their brother might still be alive.
Stay together and pull together to justice. Roll down!
At City Hall, the voice of outrage was loud and clear. Hundreds gathered in the city council chamber for an all-night forum on the Milwaukee Police Department's alleged mistreatment of minorities.
I want to know why it took a white man to do something to get us out.
Milwaukee police are inconsistent in their treatment of all minorities, whether it be blacks, Hispanics, gays, anything. They treat us like subhumans, second-class citizens.
Sickness exists in our police department when they can call a 14-year-old boy a man.
Tonight, Milwaukee Mayor John Nordquist spoke out in support of his police chief, Philip Areola. But he did blast the officers involved in this incident, saying that if they are guilty, they can justifiably expect full punishment. Reporting live from Milwaukee, I'm Charlie Wojciechowski. Back to the newsroom.
Thanks, Charlie. And in Bath Township, Ohio, investigators unearthed another 50 bone fragments believed to belong to Dahmer's first victim. This is the third day of digging on the property surrounding Dahmer's former home. Police looking for the remains of Stephen Hicks, a hitchhiker Dahmer says he killed 13 years ago. This search will continue at least through tomorrow.
Written court transcripts from when Jeffrey Dahmer was sentenced for a sex crime against a 13-year-old boy in 1988 were also released today. The document shows Dahmer appeared to show remorse for what he had done. Dahmer told the court, quote, "I've never been in this position before, nothing this awful. If anything would shock me out of my past behavior patterns, it's this." When the judge asked Dahmer if he was a homosexual, Dahmer replied, yes, quote, "It's not easy to admit. This enticing a child was the climax of my idiocy. It's just going to destroy me. I don't know what in the world I was thinking." After serving 6 months and 4 days of his one-year sentence, Jeffrey Dahmer wrote this letter to a judge asking for a reduced sentence. Dahmer stating, quote, "The world has enough misery in it without me adding more to it. I can assure you that it will never happen again." Dahmer ended his 2-page letter by saying he needed the sentence modification so he would be allowed to, quote, "continue my life as a productive member of our society." Dahmer served 8 months at a correctional facility in Wisconsin and later was held under minimum security and placed on a work release program.
But coming up, there is other news this day. 2 prominent Republicans are under federal investigation over a county contract.
Dolly Parton uncovers a secret about Mayor Daley.
And the White Sox are beginning to look like a team of destiny.
Houston, Big Frank coming home. They don't get fifth. It's 5-0.
The Channel 5 News is being sponsored in part by Dominic's.
This week, a pocket full of change buys a bag full of values at Dominic's. Get red ripe medium tomatoes, large baking potatoes, or locally grown sweet yellow corn for only 10 cents each at Dominic's. Fill your fruit bowl with California extra large tree ripened peaches or tasty nectarines, just 25 cents each. And a dozen cost a bunch to enjoy Dole bananas, only 30 cents a pound. During the pocket full of change sale at
Dominic's. Great back-to-school outfits must have cost Mom plenty.
Not at Burlington Coat Factory.
Your friends are going to like those clothes. Expensive?
Not at Burlington Coat Factory.
Off to school? Bet those outfits cost a lot.
Not at Burlington Coat Factory.
With all these great clothes, why do they call it Burlington Coat Factory?
Because they have more of these than anybody.
Besides, ever try to say Burlington boys, girls, tops, pants, sweaters, skirts, jackets, blouses, jeans, Coat Factory?
General Nutrition Center's Pro Performance Amino 1000, the scientifically developed protein supplement. Amino 1000 can help give you the edge. The Amino 1000 gel capsule, designed for fast absorption. Amino 1000, exclusively at GNC, the authority in sports nutrition.
You work hard, you play hard, and your truck is usually the one that suffers. Day after day, the wind, the rain, and the rough roads all take their toll. And if your truck isn't up to the task, you could be left with a bucket of bolts. However, if you bought a Ford F-150, you can relax, because F-150 is rated the best-built full-size pickup. It also has a higher trade-in value. The Ford F-150, it'll be around long after some other trucks have been sold for parts.
Northwestern Memorial Hospital says it is following proper procedure in not notifying the patients of a doctor who died of AIDS. Sources told Channel 5 the unidentified doctor was an ophthalmologist. And at Northwestern today, AIDS specialist Dr. John Fair said there was little risk.
The important thing, since there was no possible situation in which transmission could have occurred, there is no need to notify patients because there is no risk to patients of being infected.
There was no surgery involved, or?
There was no exposure-prone procedures carried out.
Exposure-prone is the reporting criterion spelled out in federal guidelines issued last month. Each medical specialty defines which procedures fall into that classification. Two more high-profile Chicago politicians are part of a federal investigation into allegations of secret business deals and hidden financial connections. Carol tonight has this story.
Joan, this investigation has a twist. The two men under investigation by the U.S. Attorney's Office are not Democrats, they're Republicans. In fact, they are the men many thought were the new, bright and shining stars of the local GOP. James O'Grady was elected sheriff of Cook County in 1986, a Democrat turned Republican, a former Chicago police superintendent campaigning against political corruption. O'Grady was 5 years ago the star of the Cook County Republican Party. And James Dvorak, the chairman of that party, was the man O'Grady made his second in command, his undersheriff. Today, U.S. Attorney Fred Foreman, flanked by Prosecutor Thomas Scorza and FBI Chief Delbert Dilbeck, confirmed that O'Grady and Dvorak and the private security firm they own on the southwest side, SOA, are under federal investigation, and that one of their business partners, Daniel M. Davis, stands indicted for trying to obstruct that investigation by withholding information demanded by a federal grand jury. Some background. When O'Grady and Dvorak took over the sheriff's department, the county jail for which they were responsible was grossly overcrowded. A proposed solution was to put electronic bracelets on some inmates and confine them to their homes. In 1989, O'Grady and Dvorak recommended that bracelet contract be given to a Kentucky firm, which in turn would subcontract with a company owned by a Chicago woman, thus meeting a county requirement to hire women or minorities. In question is whether that woman had a hidden financial connection to Daniel Davis and SOA. In other words, what's still at issue, what's still under investigation, is whether O'Grady and Dvorak, while they were working for the Cook County Sheriff's Department, secretly found a way and made an arrangement for their private firm to make some money off a public contract.
My personal integrity is intact.
But it was 1990 that another investigation also raised questions of conduct. It was then the federal government released tapes of reputed mob boss Rocky Enfeliz. Enfeliz claimed $10,000 bribes went to Dvorak for the sheriff. Rocky Enfeliz goes on trial next month. As for O'Grady and Dvorak, they have never been charged with any crime, and their attorneys believe it is therefore unfair of the government to speak of them in any incomplete investigation. Attorneys for SOA and Daniel M. Davis deny any wrongdoing, and the Daniel Davis in question is not the Cook County Commissioner of the same name.
Coming up, the Chicago area connection to that tragic Girl Scout bus crash.
In sports, a wild crash as the Evel Knievel tradition is passed on.
And later, the spirit of U.S.-Soviet cooperation pays some unusual dividends.
How do you find the best doctors in Chicago?
Hello, this is Prologue. May I help you find a doctor?
I hope so. With so many doctors in this area, I don't know who to go to or even the right questions to ask.
Don't worry. That's how it is with most people. Let's start by telling me where you live.
I'm right here in Schaumburg, outside of Chicago.
Do you have any specific symptoms?
No, I need to find a new family doctor. My aunt's recommended somebody, but I'd like some more objective information.
Well, the computer has 3 doctors that are right in your area.
How old are they?
2 are in their 30s and 1 is in his 50s.
How long have the first 2 been in practice?
They've both been in practice for about 5 years. One's a woman.
Tell me about her.
She describes her philosophy of practice as educational. She says she wants her patients to know exactly what she's doing and why.
Does she have office hours on Tuesday?
Yes, she does.
Can you make an appointment?
I can make an appointment for you right now. Hold on while I connect you to the doctor's office.
Call 4Health. In Northwest Indiana, call 1-800-DOCTORS.
Hot times in the city, fun times everywhere.
Don't let driving spoil the fun. Think of Metra as your second car. On weekends through Labor Day, Metra's Weekend Pass offers unlimited rides for just $5. You'll enjoy the conveniences of Metra, while the kids enjoy an exciting train ride. Let Metra help you find your place in the sun.
Metra, the way to really fly.
If you're looking for a used car, there's no better time to buy it than right now during our one-day used car sale. I've got over 300 used cars to choose from, and we're going to sell 150 that day. My managers have been instructed to reduce every used car in inventory. My salesmen have been told not to refuse any reasonable offer, and every car will be sold with a 90-day warranty. And as a special thank you from me, you'll receive either a TV or a VCR for buying on our special day. But it's this Saturday only at Al Piemonte Ford in Melrose Park.
Well, it's the weekend, but I don't suppose the drought will be ending anytime soon this weekend.
No, Joan, it's going to take a couple of good storm systems to come up and really put us over the average as far as our rainfall totals are concerned. We are dry, and today really added to that factor. We had temperatures in the low 90s throughout much of the area with very low humidity, too, at 19%. Currently, the humidity is now at 39%. The temperature's still way up there. Upper 70s and 80 degrees at Midway. And as we take a look at our U.S. satellite map, we do have some developing storm systems. That's good news. And they continue to skirt across the northern tier of the 48 contiguous states. One system out of this is starting to look impressive. It now sits over areas of Nebraska. It's been producing some very gusty winds and heavy rain showers around the Minnesota area. In fact, a thunderstorm watch has been posted in throughout southwestern areas of Minnesota, also northwestern areas of Iowa today. We also had some heavier rains earlier today and throughout the Carolinas, and that drifted all the way back in a westerly fashion towards Louisiana. Locally, clear skies. It's a gorgeous night out there, very warm, very lovely, and a gentle breeze. Cloud cover remaining to the north of us. And what's on tap for the end of the work week? More of the same. High pressure will continue to produce very warm temperatures. Look for low 90s again for Friday. Tonight, fair and warm temperatures near 70 degrees, and then tomorrow, count on mostly sunny skies. Hot and breezy, highs near 93 degrees in the suburbs, a little bit more on the muggy side too, cooler near the lakefront. And the next 5 days does indicate that storm system over Nebraska could bring its rain showers on Saturday and drop the temperature down to 84 degrees. And Sunday really looks like the better day of the two coming up this weekend with sunshine and a high of 82 degrees. Joan, Carol?
Thanks, Roberta. Grief counselors are consoling the survivors of Wednesday's California bus accident that killed 7 Girl Scouts. 31 others were injured when faulty brakes apparently caused the bus to plunge off a mountain road. 2 local Girl Scouts are among the injured. 16-year-old Debbie Brooks of Orland Park is in stable condition. 15-year-old Kate Lucas of South Chicago was treated and released.
Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Shamir today accepted the U.S. formula for Middle East peace talks with Arab nations. Shamir's acceptance is based on an assurance by Secretary of State James Baker that the question of Palestinian representation at such talks will be resolved to Israel's satisfaction. The PLO is withholding full support of the conference. A 3-member PLO delegation is scheduled to meet with Baker.
Mayor Daley is proving there is some country in a big city mayor. Daley confessing to singer Dolly Parton today that he's a country music fan. That after she gave him a plaque from the Country Music Association. It expressed appreciation for Daley staging the first annual Chicago Country Music Festival. Then Dolly expressed some personal appreciation.
What do we need to do?
No. Go ahead. That's bad.
And it's not even election time.
Tonight, as the White Sox are trying to win their 8th straight game and edge closer to first place, fans are beginning to feel the fever. Even as the wrecking ball continues to finish off the old Comiskey Park, the new stadium is on the way to setting an all-time Chicago attendance record of almost 2,700,000 fans, and business is still brisk.
Gotcha. Here's the schedule for you.
Saturday,
Saturday's sold out. I'm sorry.
Completely?
Completely. There isn't a single seat in the stadium.
Friday sold out?
No, I have a few seats Friday. Would you?
Yeah, better take them. What do you got available for September 29th against the Mariners?
I'll check.
Yeah, I'll check and get back to you. No problem.
Fever running high again tonight.
Good.
That's great. The white-hot Sox are taking advantage of some less-than-perfect play by the Rangers tonight en route to their 8th straight win and closing the gap on the Minnesota Twins. Third base coach Tom Hanks with the sign here. That means run like a little bunny. First inning looked like Robin Ventura had another one, but he did get to third base as Ruben Sierra really messed up Juan Gonzalez. That's ridiculous. Robin later scored. In the third, Danny Pasqua right through the wickets of Rafael Palmeiro. That scores Ventura again. And then moments later, Carlton Fisk spanks one to Jeff Hewson. He tries to short hop it. Look out. Can't get Pudge. Big Frank scores. Sox now lead 11-2 in the 8th. Earlier today, the Sox got help from Matt Noakes and the Yankees. Noakes with 2 homers. He has 20 for the year. New York beat Minnesota 8-3. So barring a miracle, the Sox will move within 2 games of the Twinkies. Elsewhere, wall banger of the night, Kansas City and Milwaukee. The Royals, Brian McRae goes back and doink. He's all right. Kansas City wins it 6-5-11. So the Sox are going to win. Twins lost. Oakland beat Boston. They're only 3 out. Kansas City winning over Milwaukee, as you saw. Detroit over California. Fielder his 30th. Toronto over Cleveland. In the National League, St. Louis is beating Pittsburgh. The Pirates en route to their 6th straight loss. San Francisco over Cincinnati. Philadelphia beat Montreal. Back to Comiskey for our Bo rehab update. Look at this. Most of us run like we're pulling a train. Bo pulls his trainer. There is absolutely no holding him back now. A quiet day for the Bears over in Berlin. Everybody just pausing to take it all in. A picture postcard now from John Kelly.
All the sights and structures of Berlin make this city both historic and beautiful. For most of the team, this marks their first chance to visit German landmarks. But for 2 of the Bears, their first experience in this country came years ago.
When I was young, I remember, seeing the sights, seeing the different things, and it's kind of neat because you do get to see a lot of different culture and a little bit of somebody else's society.
East Berlin was, was hard to get into. We did go into East Berlin, but at that time, it was hard, and it was very different once you were over there because they had the Jeeps with machine guns on them and very heavily patrolled, and you were happy to get back into West Berlin.
Reporting in Berlin, John Kelly, Channel 5 Sports.
It's like you were there. In basketball, the Knicks' Patrick Ewing has decided, yes, he will play in the Olympics again. Unlike Michael Jordan, who won't even be playing in the Western Amateur the rest of the week, Michael missed the cut with an 81 today, but he did have his moments.
Hey, Michael, is it the shoes?
Great sticks, huh? Great sticks. By the way, Phil Mickelson is still your leader. He had another 67 today. And finally, like father, like son, Robbie Knievel, a chip off the old butt. Oh. Robbie, following in the skid marks of his dad, Evil, actually got up and walked away from this one. You can see the family resemblance in his limp.
And scars.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
Stupidity is hereditary.
Hey. Thank you, Mark. In a minute, what's new at the New York Zoo?
Attention, all Highland superstores will be closed Thursday. We'll be taking inventory and marking down hundreds of overstocked items for our 22-hour after inventory clearance. Then at 10 a.m. Friday, we'll reopen with incredible savings on new in-carton merchandise, floor samples, and one-of-a-kinds, including audio, video, home office equipment, and appliances. But hurry. At 9 p.m. Saturday, Highland's 22-hour after inventory clearance will be over.
The Fredder Price Challenge, July 15th. A Whirlpool 25 cubic foot refrigerator with ice and water through the door. Sears price was $1,500. Highland was somewhat lower, but Fredder's everyday price was the lowest by far, $13.99. That was over $100 less than Sears.
Another example why it's always better to shop at Frederick.
5 p.m. Work's over. For most people, 5 p.m. Work's still going strong in the service center at Ray Harris King Nissan in Niles. The King's Precision Factory Train service team starts at 7 a.m., kicks into high gear, and cranks till midnight, Monday through Friday, with genuine Nissan parts and service. This week, get a free car wash, a genuine Nissan oil change for just $11.95, and a free cellular phone with service. The King's Precision Service team now working 7 a.m. till midnight for you at Ray Harris King Nissan, 5757 West Dewey in Niles.
At America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses, price is more important than ever. Patients get 2 pair of eyeglasses or a pair of daily wear soft contacts for $39.99, and that includes the eye exam. We will beat any legitimate advertised price, period. That's 2 pair of eyeglasses complete or daily wear soft contacts, including the eye exam for $39.99 only at America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses. Call now.
He's not a celebrity. He's not a millionaire. He's smart and thrifty. How? I didn't pay a lot for a muffler at Meineke. You're not going to pay a lot for a muffler at Meineke Discount Mufflers.
Finally tonight, Soviet and American relations may have just gotten better. 2 small leopard cubs made their media debut at the New York Bronx Zoo. What's so special about these cubs who were born in May is that they are the result of a mating between Friska, an American female leopard, and Bisser, a Russian male leopard. It's kind of like Love in the Zoo, perestroika style.
Cute pictures.
They're cute. That's our news for now. We thank you for joining us. We hope you have a good evening.
And we'll see you tomorrow. Good night.